Welcome back. We're at CraterWorks here. My name is Brian. I'm the membership coordinator. I'm here with Taneea Browning, who's the managing partner. Hello. And Rick Evans, who's our ShopMaster and kind of resident artist person. While we're all stuck at home and kind of doing things over Zoom and digitally, we were kind of hoping to start up a little series on how to cultivate creativity, how to spark creativity, if you will. So we're here to talk with Rick, who's been a working artist for quite a while now, and he's also one of our shop masters here. So when we do get back up and running, and you come in, you can kind of like check in with Rick and see how he's doing, and he can give you a little bit of guidance and advice and things like that on how to get projects started. But we wanted to start that process right now, digitally on our social media platforms to kind of get the idea juices flowing. So when we are open to the public, you can fire off into a project right away.
And our own creativity is being sparked, right, Brian? I mean, we're looking at how we can reach people and bring them into this space without physically bringing them into this space. And so, you know, we're being creative here at CraterWorks, knowing that, you know, we can start wherever we're at. We don't have to wait for that final perfect product. Hopefully letting, you know, other creators and makers in the space in our Rogue Valley know that they can do the same. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yep, you just got to start, right?
Got to start.
You just got to find a place to start. So
yeah, and then find the people that will help support you through that process, which is what we hope to do.
Exactly. Yeah, and one of those people that has been a big help here for me personally and for the space has been Rick. And Rick, why don't you talk a little bit about your background, your experience? What mediums do you work in? Where do you kind of start in your artistry and your creativity?
Well, for me, my medium and whatever I'm working on changes frequently, because for me it changes every time my curiosity gets the best of me and I want to try something new, or my circumstance is that I don't have the space to do a certain art form, so I'll switch art forms. So in the past, in college, I started out painting as a painter. From there, I went on to becoming a tile maker, a sculptor working in metal and wood, and then I've come full circle back to most recently, I was a plein air painter. Being I didn't have a studio, I went outdoors and I painted landscapes. And then circumstances would have it that an opening came open here at CraterWorks, and we have a full wood shop and a full metal shop. And so now I'm able to get back into doing some sculpture and things too. And I haven't plein air painted in about a year since so for me, it's constantly changing, which kind of keeps it fresh.
Yeah. So you mentioned some of the things that we have here at CraterWorks, being our fully stocked wood shop, our fully stocked metal shop. Behind me, you can see our laser cutter, and I'm in our digital fab lab. Taneea is actually in our design lab, so we have a full array of computers and Adobe Suite and everything. You know, my approach is you don't necessarily need the tools, you just need the idea first, right? So Rick, how do you go about cultivating kind of an idea for a project, or how do you go about cultivating that creativity and sparking some creativity in your work?
Well, first of all, I think you have to recognize that you're a creative person, which we all are, because all day long we're making decisions and figuring out how to problem solve in our daily lives. The difference is that we kind of do that innately, and when you're an artist, you kind of want to do that purposely, right? So something strikes my interest, I have a great curiosity. Curiosity is kind of the core of what it, for me.
You killed the cat.
Well, yeah, but I'm not a cat, and so it's okay. And so, something will grab my attention, or I see something that then makes me want to capture that moment, maybe, or share that moment with other people who aren't in that vicinity at the time, or create something, or that I want to express a feeling that I had that this thing I just saw instilled in me. And so then I take that to my art form. And so that's kind of where that starts out. So initially it's just a thought in my head. I carry a sketchbook around so then I can jot down my ideas.
Nice.
But as I create, things change. And if I get interaction with other people and they talk about different things, my sketch will turn out quite different than my finished art form. And it's nice having that input from other people and being open to that, because I can't think of everything on my own.
Well, and I think that's really great. We did a little bit of research, right, on podcasts and information and sparking creativity and what you can do. And I think what's interesting is, we're not breaking new ground here at CraterWorks with this podcast, but what I think is really cool that we're doing is we're creating a local outlet for people to really get to know us and the space here and different artists around the valley, entrepreneurs, small business leaders that want to use the space and have that expertise to support that creative energy. And so that's what I think is really unique about, you guys here, is that you have that expertise to support people in their making process.
Mm-hmm. Not only do we have tools here, but we also have people that, and as great as the tools here that we have are, I think our biggest, kind of superpower is the people, right? And our ability to bring people together, kind of, because we kind of have, I think a lot of people have an idea in their head of the artist out in the forest painting alone, or the woodworker in his shop just toiling away by themselves. But art isn't art, and making isn't done in a vacuum. It's really a collaborative process, because Rick could bring a project in, and just this morning was a great example, because Rick's working on some carts and shelving for us, and he and I, he could easily just go off and make his own thing and do it, but he and I talked about it, had a little back and forth, said he pitched an idea, I pitched it back, and kind of back and forth. And making isn't done in a vacuum. It's done. You can come up with the idea yourself, but the best ideas are collaborative. And that's really kind of what we try to do here,
Well, I think that's, along those lines, it's a lot of people have these obstacles or barriers that keep them from pursuing whatever it is that they want to do. So a person may think, I want to create this thing, but I don't have the skills to do that, or I don't have a space to do that, or I don't, where can I go to get help doing that thing? So that's what's nice about what we do here.
Well, and I love it, Rick. You opened my eyes in just us kind of preparing for this and talking about, what creativity looks like. I have never thought of myself as a creative person, ever. But when you phrased it in a way, you're like, it's really about problem solving. I got that. Totally. People everywhere are problem solving, whether it's how you're going to get all your chores done, you're going to juggle your schedule, you want to build something, and maybe you don't want to build something physical. Maybe it's a structure of a business and how it's going to operate. All of those things take creative solutions. And so, now I'm like, oh, maybe I am super creative. Maybe I can build something too.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think, like I said, I think if you're breathing, you're a creative person because it
Oh,
just takes
thanks.
skills to get through life. You
It,
know, the
it's how
difference.
it's how people evolve. Is a constant circle of problem solving, begetting creativity. And Rick and you and I spoke about it, you know, a little bit. But creativity and problem solving are these self-feeding. It's a self-feeding circle, right? Because you know, you can have a problem. You have to think about it creatively or abstractly or whatever, come up with a solution, and then you kind of keep going in the circle until you end up with something. You know, it's not. It's an active process, but it's a process we all go through even without thinking about it. So, Rick, I think the point you brought up with me a while, you know, a few days ago was really great because an artist is just a person who knows how to cultivate that and think about it and actively engage with it in their mind, and work that muscle out, right?
Yeah, well, and I do think that it provides, I mean, it is solving your daily issues. It takes a lot of creativity, but I think there is a bit of a difference when you're trying to manifest a physical thing from a thought you had.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and so maybe you want to start a business, right? And you have these ideas, and maybe it's, you know, you want to make a product that you're going to sell. So then it's, you know, how do you get from that thought in your mind to that physical product? And what does it take to get there? It's a little different than deciding what toothpaste you're going to use in the morning or something along those
Totally,
lines. You know what I'm
totally.
saying?
Yeah,
So,
it's that active engagement
Yeah.
of your mind into that process.
And
yeah.
intentional, like you've mentioned before, that intentional creative process. And how do we tap into that and support it and even help to nurture that in other people?
Yeah.
Well, and just, yeah, and just to break down those barriers, I think that's what CraterWorks is really can help people do. You know, we talked about the barriers of having a space or having the tools or having the knowledge. And a lot of times people just let that, or they don't have the encouragement to pursue those things. You know, I kind of grew up, I think most artists have in the past, with everybody saying, oh, that's nice that you do that, but you need a real job or whatever it is. And I think that it's possible to do that and have a real job all at the same time. So, you know, it's kind of following what your, I don't want to say passion, because some people don't really know what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a dream or an idea or whatever it is, instead of just saying, wouldn't it be nice if I could do that? Well, you know, we provide a place that you could actually do that.
And it's easier and to that point, like starting your own business is easier than it's ever really been with you know, e-commerce sites, with Etsy, with online retail, and you know, the way that's going, it really is easier than it's ever been. And with a democratized workshop like we have, not to throw like a big word out, but you know, with the ability to like, so you don't have to invest in, you know, $2,000 joiner and a $3,000 planer, and you know, not that that's what we have, but we have really good tools, I promise. But it's not. So you don't have to invest in that. You just have to invest in your ideas and your creativity and your and kind of find what your passion is, because that's a whole journey in itself, and then pursue that.
Yeah.
And as you come across little roadblocks, you know, you kind of have someone there that can help you, steer you in the right direction. You know, like I want to reuse an old frame that I had in a beautiful mirror. You know, so what can I make from that? What materials would I use? How would I connect those materials? What makes sense and looks good artistically? You know, I'm like, okay, well, some cork board. But then, you know, Rick was like, oh, well, you could put a metal strip and you could add, you know, it can be magnetic. And so then it gives that project a little bit more depth than if I was just working on it. by myself. So that collaboration and that creativity kind of sparks and feeds. We get that a lot. I know I get that a lot here. I come in and I see what you guys are doing and I'm like, oh, well, we can do this and we can offer this class. And so it kind of builds on the momentum of the people around you. And so having that as a resource removes that barrier to creativity, I think is amazing.
Yeah, and I think, just, there's so many different levels, you can come in if you're wanting to pursue something to supplement your income or make it your main income, or you just have, you want some art for your garden, or you need a gate and you'd like to have something, yeah, you can go out and buy these things and that type of thing. And maybe that's more convenient and you don't need, but there's something about it's those people who get a sense of satisfaction about, I did this thing. I think everybody gets that, it can be real simple. You could just run out and buy it. But, once you've made something, you get a sense of like, wow, I did this thing. So.
I made this, speaking of things I've made, 3 years ago. I made a
That's
clip.
awesome.
Right? And I did it when I completely forgot until you mentioned that, Rick. I made this and I was so proud. It's not completely beautiful. It's kind of ugly, but I made it all myself. I hand dyed it. I punched things that were in it. And so it's that pride of ownership. Like I could have bought this probably way less somewhere else, but I made it and I'm so proud of it. And I think that's what you're talking about is you can create things that are pieces of you in ways that you can't buy. So.
Yeah, it's an expression of who you are.
Yeah.
I guess you get that a little bit if you picked out something at the store that is an expression because you chose that thing. But when you can make it with your hands, or and you started with the idea and came through and made it manifest that piece physically, that's for me is an amazing feeling. For me, it's also like that's who I am, and I don't know if hurts are a blessing because I'm driven to create things, and my house is full of the things I created, but I can't stop just because I have no room in my house anymore. I just
the slippery slope.
I just keep doing it,
Well, and that's great, and I hope that we're able to continue to do this too, right? I mean, this is just the very beginning of hopefully our engagement with our community and finding out what people want to do and what they're interested in learning how to do, and different roadblocks maybe that they come across, and how we as a community can help remove those roadblocks. And we won't necessarily be the answer to it all, but we hope, that we'll know kind of where to direct people, being kind of that hub or that network of creative people and the creative space. So that's kind of my hope for this.
I feel like we're definitely the people that lead the horse to water, right? But we can't necessarily make him drink.
Right.
We can show the way, but it's up to, and that's the beauty of it, because everybody is going to find their own, beautiful, creative, awesome way to do the thing that they want to do. And we're just able to, like, I'm like super proud of what we have built so far and where we're going, because we're every day we're like building systems and doing things and making it possible to remove those barriers from letting people do those and go on those beautiful like creativity and like self-discovery odysseys, if you will.
Well, that's great. Rick, do you have any closing, words of wisdom we should, move forward with in the next couple days, and how to collect our creativity, or any projects that maybe if anyone's creating something, they could leave it in the comments, below. So maybe it will inspire someone else.
I would just say this is a good time. We can't do much socializing with people because of the situation we're in. But, get out there, start looking around, just start looking at your environment, start looking around at things, and what kind of excites you, what kind of gets you going, and, look at things online if you're wondering about different projects and things, you know. There's a lot of different things that can inspire you. And then once you're inspired, you know, follow that inspiration and create something.
And maybe we'll start posting some things too that from some other, you know, partners, other maker spaces that are doing that to help inspire. So keep checking back here, I'm thinking.
Yeah, follow along, because we got quite the journey of our own to go on.
Heck yeah, super excited. All right, I'm gonna sign out. Thank you.
All right.
Adios.
Let's work.
Yay, make, create.